Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Daren After the Credits, number 42. Hope. Sorry about that. Hello, everybody. How's it going? I I was wondering. I was hearing double audio, and I had the stream opened in my headphones. I was like, "What the hell is going on?" What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone is having a fantastic evening. I'm joined by my friend Darth Bunyan. Darth, how's it
Hi,
going?
it's going good. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I already said that. I don't know why I asked it again. I'm so sorry. Welcome, everybody. We are here for another Daren After Credits, our TV recap show. We got some fun things, man. Fall TV is set into gear. Obviously, we have more episodes of Agatha all along, which we'll be talking about first. We have some Penguin to talk about. I'm also going to be giving my little recap, just kind of general thoughts on Daryl Dixon season 2. We're gearing up next week, guys. We have Superman and Lois season 4, the final season of Superman and Lois. It's a good time. We had a long break from the show, and now it's like, all right, we're back. We got TV to talk about. I'm excited. I think big episodes for both, especially Agatha. I think like they did a big thing this week that people have been wanting them to do for a while, and it's like, well, shit, I can't believe that they're doing that. LBM already said it. The devil? Well, we'll see. We'll see. The type of
Maybe.
devil, potentially.
Oh,
Hello, in comforts of good stranger. In comfort of stranger. I added that good in there for some reason. But yeah, we're gonna be jumping in. It's gonna be a slightly shorter stream than normal, just because trying to get in and out of here within the hour. So yeah, let's just jump into our first show today. And obviously, yes, if you guys want to comment anything, comment your thoughts, opinions, theories, speculations, feel free to do so as we get into today's episode. So first of all, it's Agatha All Along, season 1, episode 3 of Agatha. Week 2, we are barreling along into the season where I think this was a very interesting episode because I do think we're kind of starting to set up the status quo of the show. I feel like the template of the show is starting to show, if you will. And it's very fun to kind of be like, okay, that's what we're doing here. That's the direction they're taking this show, and following episodes kind of going forward. What was your kind of general thoughts on the first? I'm sorry, the third episode of Agatha?
I see what you mean though, because it did feel like the first episode after the stage has been set. This seems the first true episode in the play that we were watching, and I loved it. I love the history that they all share, which adds a layer to the bickering and the hot-headedness. It makes it more personal and it feels more real. Do you know what I mean? Like, say for example, when we had Gotham Knights, it was all of the sniping was predicated on prejudices held in them for their from their life and their experiences, like purely anecdotal stuff that they just held to be true. This is all stuff based on their character. So I think it was a really fun way to you've got this. Okay. Yeah, sorry, it threw me off a little bit.
Sorry.
You've got them like being broken down. That's what the road is about. You know what I mean? I feel like to break them down, their will, them as people, and maybe even to question what their true desires are, because they've come on the road with one desire and might get to the end with another. And then like we're breaking them down as people to build them up together as a team. And yeah, sorry, waffled a bit there, but yes, I'm very excited for the start of this.
Yeah, no, I've really enjoyed kind of having this ensemble cast of characters that we're starting to grow and follow, and I feel like it's something that a lot of these Disney Plus shows haven't really had up until this point. Like, I feel like typically it's like really focused on the main character and their journey, and it is again very templated, like a movie where you're just kind of following our main character on their journey. This is something that I think Echo was really trying to do, but I think slightly failed because they didn't quite have the time, and it felt like things were cut from that show that maybe would have left things in for us to grow with these characters. Like I said last week, this feels to me like an episodic TV show. It feels like this weekly journey. It feels like it's templated like a TV show. This is one of the last TV shows that wasn't like that was like before they decided to move over to like show Bibles and showrunners that were getting with like Daredevil and stuff like that, and like Wonder Man, stuff like that. So, but it's very refreshing to see to me, and I was very curious going into these next couple episodes because the first two, I was like, these guys seem cool, but I didn't necessarily feel like I had some great attachment to any of them. I didn't feel like there was some great, I don't know, like we just didn't have much time with them. Like we really just had episode 2, and they were kind of just thrown into the mix. So I was going to be very curious, and I do think this episode was very heavy on building them up, seeing some of their backstory, what they're dealing with, what, you know, the like journey we're going to be taking them on within these next couple of episodes. I do want to address the main thing just really quickly because you called it last week, and I feel like I was very skepticism of you. I was like, I'm not sure if they're actually going to do the thing. We did finally get the Mephisto name drop in the MCU.
Yes.
Like, for those of you who don't know, it's become kind of like a running meme within the MCU community about, like, when's Mephisto coming? Because throughout the entirety of WandaVision, every week, like, it's Mephisto. It's got to be Mephisto. We were way off. It was nothing to do with Mephisto. And Marvel knows that. Marvel knows the joke. And, like, it is very funny. They're like, well, it wasn't him that time, but maybe it's him this time. Do you think he will be a prominent role in this specific show, or do you think that was more so just a name job?
I'm not sure. Because their craft, as it is a spectrum in itself, right? Because not all witchcraft would be in worship of Mephisto, and not all of it will be in service of Hecate or whatever the goddess of the witches is, right? So it could be very long, all of that, you know.
Sure.
So I do wonder if he'll be name dropped more. I do wonder. I would love for him to make an appearance, even as a post-credit scene at the end of this. That would be ideal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That would be amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like, amazing, because that could explain. Because the problem I have is the fact that if he is in Ironheart,
yeah,
how the hell is that his first project? I'm sorry, like Doctor Strange 2, right? WandaVision and Agatha all along, or whatever the show, Agatha, right?
Yeah.
All of that's happening. Moon Knight, for Christ's sake, right? All of these magical properties and magical shows that you're like, no. Let's whack him over here so we can have magic fighting science.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I think, the idea. Like, I think, like, the way I've heard it pitched is, like, it's a story about science versus magic and, like, the, like, differences between those two things, which I actually think is a very fun concept. Like, I'm very excited to see what they do with it. But you're right. I do think, like, Agatha would be the perfect place to at least introduce him. Like, to throw him in. Like, obviously, if they put in, you know, that little name drop, I don't think he's going to be the main villain. I don't think he's going to, like, it does seem like it's going to be something different. But I could see a world where they maybe meet him on the Witch's Road. And, like, to be completely transparent, I'm not an expert in Mephisto. I know of him. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, they're adapting, you know, issue 17. Like, I don't know. I just kind of know that he's, like, the MCU's kind of devilish kind of character. Like, that's kind of the bit of my knowledge. But, like, it's cool to just have it there now. Like, we can finally, like, all right, we've done it. All right, the joke can kind of, ooh, hi, cat. Like, this giant joke that they've been having for now the last 4 or 5 years at this point. kind of wrap it up a little bit. But
but I know this isn't even out yet. But like my issue with the magic versus science thing is that Doctor Strange set up magic as a thing that's kind of like akin to science. Do you know what I mean? Like magic spells are like computer programs that change how the universe works. You know what I mean? So to have that concept in the MCU is just going to be basically, well, we've got surface level science, i.e., Ironheart, right? And like potentially reality changing science with Mephisto and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So it's just a case of quick thinking, outbeating like planning and prep. You know, that's what it seems to be boiling down to. I think a better story could be told, but that's for another time.
You gotta wait and see. Yeah, it's tough. We don't know anything about Ironheart yet. Like it's very much they're keeping that very close to their chest at this point.
Yeah.
And no, like I think this episode, what I really appreciated from this episode is it feels like they're trying to play into the genre bending that WandaVision did, where kind of each episode was a different genre of TV show, and it feels like they're kind of expanding with that. Obviously, episode 1 was the like murder mystery classic Boston cop show, like that was this episode. Episode 2 is more status quo, and in this episode, it felt very much like a. I don't watch a lot of these type of shows, but like a Housewives, like a Bachelorette kind of like, oh, they're in the villa and they're all, you know, all these women kind of stuck in a room together, and they're, you know, I don't watch those type of shows, so I can't give you like an exact example, but that's kind of the vibe I got from this episode that I thought was kind of fun, and I feel like the actors had a lot of fun getting to put on these different outfits and like play in this little world, and I thought they all looked amazing. Like I think they all very much pulled off that world, and getting to see them kind of in a way kind of like a bottle episode, actually, the more I think about it, and they kind of stuck in one place, and how those dynamics kind of got to shine. Yeah.
I'm very, very, very interested from all of the stuff that happened in this episode. Right, so it really allowed other dimensions to the characters, right? Because you had the divination witch that had that whole Latin relative. Like, is she talking about is she talking about her family and her sisters? Like, who the hell is she talking about? They're dead. They're all dead. You know what I mean? Looking all decrepit and decayed and shit. That was amazing. Okay, and then I'm really interested to find out whether the Green Witch, I believe it is, the daughter of the other witch, that whether she's lost on the road or not, whether she's going to make an appearance. What the hell was going on with that whole Mr. Sinister dude in the apron, right? Chasing down that poor potions witch, and like the fact that he now has her power because he's kept her bound. What the hell is that about, right? That seems like a whole episode of Supernatural, you know, like when they're sitting there binding the gods and shit. Crazy, you know. Everybody looked wonderful in their beach attire, okay, and their faces when they got swollen were goddamn hilarious.
Yeah, this show I think has mastered its like comedic beats very well. I think it balances its dramatic and its like comedy beats very well. Like they don't let comedic stuff sit too long. It plays just enough to be like, yeah, that's really funny. And I'm curious how they're going to play with this for the rest of the season. Spoilers, if you haven't seen, the big comedic character is dead, unfortunately. Which, yes, we should address that. Because I had a theory last week, and I was very confident with it. I was like, I feel really good about this. It's the clip I posted on TikTok from our episode. I was like, I feel good about this. And almost instantly, I was like, yeah, that's not happening, I don't think. I think pretty instantly, I was like, all right. And I will say, I think Miss Hart for me has been the highlight of the show so far. Like, I've loved her. That actress is such a sweetheart. She's having a blast. She said in like an interview that like she's as naive about what's going on as the character is, and I think that's so sweet, and I think that's so
awesome. Wow, that just makes it so much better.
Yeah, she talked about like she would just go and be like, I don't know what I'm doing, just tell me where to go. I don't understand this lore. And it's like, you poor sweet thing, and that's
just put me here and tell me what to say. I'm okay. Wow. Oh, that's
Oh,
amazing. I gotta say, I did call it right. Also,
mm,
um, Liam pointed out a good thing, like because basically in the Witch's Road, in the song, it talks about stray from the path and you will die. She was the first and only one off that road,
yeah.
and then boof, she gets got. And like me and Liam were like I in dispute about where Mrs. Hart died, right? Because I am convinced that she died before she got on the slide, and it was just like desecration of a corpse at that point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I
Like she died in the kitchen. They're like, wee.
yeah, I
That
don't
just
like
seems crazy.
yeah, like I've seen some people say like, "Oh, she died because they didn't get her the drinking time." They also didn't put her hair in the pot. Like I think like no matter if they got it in her in time, she didn't like she wasn't part of the coven up until that. Like she didn't do the
Dude,
ritual that everyone else did. So I think she was dead there. Like either way, if they
wow.
gave it to her or not. Um,
Okay then, but another good like that is a phenomenal point. Okay, genius. But then that also raises the question of like Blackheart is supposed to be a part of the coven. Do
yeah.
you know what I mean? So
How
like
does she
they are
join
not
in?
a true coven at this point on the Witch's Road, you know?
Sure.
So I wonder like because if also that means that Blackheart can't turn up. Do you know what I mean? Because you need the coven to get there. Or at least
Yeah.
a certain number of them.
Yeah, I'm very curious how these rules work exactly because I also kind of have these similar questions with Teen about like he's not part of the coven, but I feel like at this point he kind of is. Like he kind of is.
Yeah,
Like oh, he's not part of the
yeah.
group, not part of the group, but he's on the mission with them. He's on the road with them. I don't
Mhm.
know if the road cares that he's under 21 and he can't drink. Like I was like, how exactly is he going on this mission with them? They're just like, they got a +1. It's fine. Don't worry about
Yeah.
him. I guess I don't know.
There has to be a gray area because what about somebody that's a teetotal or that's like allergic to alcohol in the first place? You know, because
They're
there are
screwed.
there are
Yeah.
people, yeah, right. There has to be a gray area. You know, that magic is like, okay, let's just let him off. It's fine.
Unless it's because of potentially how powerful he is. Like, not to say anything, but if he is the son of Wanda, Wanda's very powerful. Maybe there's a protection spell on him. Like maybe that's why. Because yeah, we got a little bit more hints about the hex that was put on him. We asked last week, like, is it just Agatha or is it everybody? And it seems to be
Yeah,
everybody, which
yeah.
opens up a lot more questions for me. It was like, well, what about his boyfriend? Can his boyfriend, like, is the boyfriend even real? Like,
Or
what's
just witches, or just witches.
maybe
It could
he's
just be
in his
witches.
little like WandaVision-esque world where he thinks he has a boyfriend, but really it's just a broom or
Oh,
something.
that would be so sad. That would be
Yeah.
so sad because it's fine giggling at Agatha with her little squeaky toy and the setup for 2 or 3 years. That's fine. That's a giggle, okay? But this man having a vested and deep relationship, I cannot abide that. That's so tragic and sad. That is so that'd be heartbreaking. That'd be so bad. Liam reminded me that Blackheart is also the antagonist of Ghost Rider in the original Ghost Rider movie.
Oh, really?
Like
Okay, cool.
he's literally like the son of the devil.
Gotcha.
So whether this is the same character, I'm assuming not. Whether it's just the name that has been taken and put onto a witch, whether there are more than one Blackheart in Marvel, one can assume so. It's a massive universe, so we're gonna have to do a bit more in the research without trying to get any spoilers because that's the main thing I want to try and avoid is like where they might be going because this is such a fun and interesting mystery. Even the horrendously tragic stuff with like i.e. Agatha and that goddamn baby cop. Whether she she's supposed to be like the worst witch, right? The worst witch. She's supposed to be like the absolute worst, right?
Yeah.
So it would make sense that she did do that, but like, there's no way you can get over that. That like, she's the lead. She is the lead. Okay, villain or otherwise, we are supposed to be on her side. That's the whole
Yeah.
point of what we're seeing, you know? Or at least feel a conflict to feel on her side.
Sure.
There's no way, like, anybody with any human in them can go, oh, yeah, no. The quest for power, sacrificing your firstborn, I totally get it. You know? Like, there's nobody that's going to be saying that during the episode when we find that out. So we have to have something. But, dude, this would be the perfect place to introduce Mephisto as well, right? Because who else is she? Like, it's either Mephisto or Chthon, right? The person that created the god that created the Darkhold, you know, the reason that chaos magic exists in the first place. But then she was sat there with purple magic, right? So who the hell was she sacrificing the baby to, if anybody? Like, we need to see that conversation, because if she's just like praying and doing this just on a whim, you know, like, oh, I have faith, so I'm doing this to an empty room. Oh, do you know what I mean? Can you imagine like trying that and it doesn't work?
Yeah,
you got the wrong ingredients. You know,
it's just gone. You get nothing. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's and again, I think they're doing a very good job at introducing these slow burning mysteries and ideas with these certain characters, where it's like, oh, she sacrificed her child for this thing. Why do you do that? What's so important about the Book of the Damned? What led up to this? Was it your plan to have a child just for you could sacrifice it? Was it one of those things where like, oh, to save their life, I had to do blah blah? Like we don't know. Like there's so many different things that I am so fascinated about.
That's another good point. Yeah, like, oh yeah, like that scene with Mash on the bus. Oh, I'm not getting into it, but yeah. Oh my god. So that's insane. But then like, you know, like the Silver Surfer, you know, like it was a self-sacrifice to save like a planet full of people, but he's off killing other planets. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to save this small selective group of people that I love, family included, but I have to go off and be a little devil, you know, and sacrifice a part of my soul, which is my firstborn. You know, that's insane. Because like,
I definitely... Go ahead,
sorry. Just that she is like the witch that everybody, like, you know, like you hear all stories of like, oh, like a witch will get you all this and this. Like, other than the Hansel and Gretel witch that got joked about, she seems to be the one everybody warns you about. You know, it's crazy. I'm so invested in the show. We're 3 episodes in, for Christ's sake.
They're doing great. I think they're doing pacing, like amazing. Like, I think they're pacing it out really well. But yeah, no, like I definitely think we're going to get. Because I feel like we are kind of yet to get kind of her perspective. Like, it is still kind of people viewing Agatha as the big bad guy. I think she's not good. Like, I don't think they're going to do a thing where, oh, she's the good guy now. But also, like, it feels like, it doesn't also feel like she's the bad guy yet either. Like, it doesn't feel like she's the bad guy everyone thinks. Like, there's that scene where it's like, teens like, fine, I'll drink. She's like, no, don't do that. I want you to, like... She feels like she genuinely cares about this kid. It feels like she's starting to care about her little coven. Like, I think them starting to bond a little bit has been very fun to see. There's that really fun scene where it's like, hey, I've always hated you, but you got this. Like I left you alone because your work was important. And like, at one point I'm like, okay, we need to hurry up this pep talk a little bit. But 2, that's a really fun scene. I think it builds up their dynamic really, really well. But I think with 9 episodes, I think we are going to get a solo flashback episode with Agatha. I think that's coming. I think it has to come at this point, or at least a partial flashback to be like, because we saw a little bit of like her getting burned at the stake or whatever last in WandaVision. But I want to see exactly what happened with the Book of the Damned. Would Disney go that far to show all? Like, I don't know exactly how far they're allowed to go in like a Disney Plus show. I mean, I guess they showed butt cheeks, so I feel like at this point they can. I guess I don't know. It feels like.
Do you know what's crazy?
What's up?
I think that night was like at the very start of her journey, like the very start of her journey, and I would love, like you said, like an origin episode. So. Like a recap to that point, like a short one, and then like, because once she realizes what her magic power is, because she goes from blue to purple, you know what I mean, So she goes from a natural witch to, oh, this is a new power. You know what I mean? And then she becomes like the witch that everybody knows. So we could get like time jumps to her interactions with the other witches and why they have that relationship, you know?
Right.
And it could just be something really stupid and innocuous, but it'd be fun to see, you know?
Yeah. I'm loving how they're building everything up. Tomorrow we get a new episode, so that's going to be very exciting. I'm curious, just like these next, because we have 2 more trials. There's 3 trials, right? So I think we get 2 more trials, or is it 4 trials? Is it 34? They said, I forget. I think they said 3 trials, and this was the first.
Let's have a quick look.
So if it's 3, that this is episode 3, 4, 5. So maybe we end the trial episode 5, and then we have 6, 7. That's still 4 episodes. We have a lot to go, man. We have a lot of episodes still. 6 episodes left? Like, I love that we have just a good array of episodes just to go through. Like, they're 9 episodes so far.
It just says through many miles of tricks and trials. So
we'll see. Maybe it's 3,
no specific
maybe it's
number.
4.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because like I assume that's the template.
I'm really good.
Is them. Each episode is like a different trial, which I think is a very fun template. Like they're really playing to the TV formula with that, which I think is really, really fun. We'll see. I'm curious where we kind of leave our. Go ahead.
Do you think the Black Heart being in the coven is as writ, right? Because that also came from like the divination witch that predicts goddamn disaster, right? So following her might not be the best idea. You know what I mean? Because I know we're going to spend, I've seen like a few stills, so I know we're going to spend what looks like some time outside of the road as well. And I'm wondering how, like, because Blackheart's got her own thing going on, right? But I'm wondering how they'll reconcile her joining the group after they've been on this life-changing and reforming journey that she has been excluded from, right? Yeah. And whether her place in the team or coven is set in stone, or is that a place that will be filled by the team?
Yeah.
I'm really curious.
It's even crossed my mind a little bit. Like, what if she uses like, I forget her name, Mrs. Hart. Mm-hmm. Like, I wonder if
Sharon.
Thank you. Who's Sharon? I had that same exact mind. I couldn't remember her name. But like, what if she uses Sharon's body in some way to kind of like join the coven? Like, she'll like have her look like she can like transform herself into her, but like she uses kind of like her placeholder in the group. I don't know how that would work exactly, but kind of like her shell or whatever. Be like, all right, I'm part of the coven because I don't know. Maybe they could do something with that. Just something that kind of crossed my mind. But no, I'm very curious to kind of see where we kind of take the journey from here. I do want to ask, because something has crossed my mind. I don't know if you've seen, Agatha's been doing very well in streaming numbers, which has made me very happy. People were like, who asked for this? No one wants this. Opened up with 9 million views in its opening episodes, which is fantastic. It's not only one of the highest, viewed episode of like Disney Plus things in a while, it's also the cheapest Disney Plus show, which has made me be wondering, like, I wonder if they will change this to like a limited series. Yeah, apparently, which actually kind of makes sense because so far it is kind of a character, like it is a lot of human characters, not a lot of huge action sequences yet. So actually, to me, that kind of makes sense. But I wonder if it's the cheapest, if it's doing really well, especially on like the TikTok audience and stuff like that. Maybe they'll change from like a limited series title to like a season 1, that kind of thing. Like it feels like it's kind of growing its own fan base even outside of the Marvel world, which I think is really cool to see. So
it does make sense when you think about it. I mean, because She-Hulk, all of the CGI, right? Ms. Marvel going to India or Pakistan, right? Because that travel cost is going to be like crazy. Moon Knight, the same with Egypt and the other locations. I'm assuming they went there, right? They had to. WandaVision speaks for itself. Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier, that would have been
huge
heavy.
acting.
The casting budget, the action, all of that. Yeah, I'm not thinking of another one that would have. Yeah, makes sense.
I think Secret Invasion should have been cheap, but since they had to pause filming during COVID, like it was like a $300 million. It was an insanely high budget, and people were like, "What?" And like, yeah, people were like, "What the hell, man?" And it's like, well, they had to stop mid-COVID, and Samuel L. Jackson is expensive, but
that hurts.
It does. Hurts. Okay. Oh my god.
Okay, right. That really helps lend into the criticism that that show got. Right. I have been a staunch defender of that show. Yeah. Okay, and I love Secret Invasion. I think they did really, really well because the antagonist, I forget his name, that has been there since a kid. You know what I mean? The scroll bad guy. His actor, that's also in the Barbie movie, sick. He's so cool. The way he was just spitting in Samuel Jackson's face, like just oh my god, I was here for all of it, right? But my god, 300 million, and that's what we fucking get? You sons of bitches.
It will forever be frustrating to me. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did 22 episodes on a quarter of that budget. I'd argue 100 times better than what Secret Invasion gave us.
How many times was Samuel Jackson in that?
Twice. Just twice. They could not afford him in the final season, unfortunately. All right.
Yeah, they were saving up for Secret Invasion, weren't they?
All right, I'll be moving on really quickly. We don't have to spend too much time on this, but I do really just want to give my general thoughts on the premiere of Daryl Dixon. This is really cool to me because I just got caught up with the Walking Dead franchise up until this point. I watched The Ones Who Lived this week, which was like the Rick and Michonne kind of spinoff that they did, and that was very excellent. And it was a really cool moment because I've spent like the entire year just trying 150, 60 episodes, just trying to get caught up to this point.
Wow.
If I can watch live, because I felt like The Walking Dead right now is like the closest thing I can get to like the Arrowverse stuff, where it's like multiple TV shows set in the same universe, kind of, you know, like it kind of reminded me of that. So I really wanted to get caught up. So season 2, I won't talk about this too long. I just want to give kind of general thoughts. I actually liked it a lot more, just this kind of first episode, than the first season. I thought the first season of Daryl Dixon, I didn't make a video on it. I wanted to. I didn't really have much to say. I was like, this is okay. I think I love Daryl as a character, but what I think worked so well about Daryl as a character is he needs characters to kind of bounce off of. He's really good when compared with Carol or Rick or, you know, Kelly or any of the characters that you would kind of find him with. And I feel like he didn't have that dynamic in the first season. So some of it just kind of felt a little bland to me, even if they were doing some fun things with the show. I think it's very interesting. The first episode this season really didn't have much Daryl. It was actually about Carol, because Carol has joined the cast this season. And I think it kind of made me realize how much more I like Carol more than Daryl, because instantly I'm like, oh, yeah, she actually fits the spin-off formula, I think, a bit better than Daryl does. But I think that will help Daryl in the long run, because I think having both of them there together, I think will make it a lot more entertaining. Like, their back and forth, I think, is going to be really fun. And
so
already, go ahead.
Sorry. Can I just ask? Is it story centric as to why she's there? Like, is it been forced into the situation as like why Carol's there, or is it that the show could then take, like, say for example, you really like Carol, right? Yeah. And love that she's there. Do you think with other loved characters they could do like Meanwhile in the City and then like transport to another character?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this first episode was about Carol trying to find Daryl. Like this first episode is like her trying to plan a plane trip. Like, she hired someone to help her take her to France to find Daryl. like Carol, spoilers, I don't know how much you care about spoilers. I don't know if you're ever going to watch, but like post the end of the show, things are finally calm. Like the main show, like things are calm, things are okay, and she's struggling now that Daryl's gone. Like that's the only person left from like the original couple seasons that she really knows or has a connection with. So she's struggling by herself. So her whole thing is like, well, if I can just find that one person that gets me that I've had in my life, things will be better. So that's kind of the idea with what they've kind of built up with her, which I actually think has worked pretty well so far. And the stuff with her so far has been really, really fun. Like I don't know if you remember the barn scene in season 2 of The Walking Dead with Carol's daughter when they find out she's the Walker after searching for her.
With the Punisher trying to get her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they they reshoot that scene, like they recreate that scene for this new season, and then they're going back to the roots of Carol and really finally addressing her trauma with the death of her daughter. Like they've addressed it in the main show, but I feel like we're looking at that trauma through a new perspective now that things are calm. Now that things are like, oh, it's okay kind of for her. Now she's looking back at all these deaths that she's had and be like, oh, I am not okay, actually. Like I'm still actually struggling with these things. And they're doing some fun things with like air travel in the show. Like she hires someone with an airplane and they're just like flying to France. That's never really been a thing in The Walking Dead. Like a freaking like airplane sequences. There's a really cool sequence in this episode where like they're trying to escape on the plane and the walkers are getting cut up by the like plane propellers, and it's a really cool sequence. It was like, holy shit, that's really fun. And they were showing the like behind the scenes stuff where like the actors who were playing the walkers, they were getting hit by the actual plane, and the way they were doing those stunts in real time I thought was really cool. But yeah, no, I enjoyed this first episode. I'm curious to see the rest of the season. I'm happy just to watch a Walking Dead show live. Like it's been really fun. I've never done that before. Like I've just been binging this whole time. So to be caught up with the rest of the world is fun. Marketing has sucked. There's been zero marketing for this new season. So I don't know how many people are actually going to be watching.
Didn't know this was out. Honestly. So have you seen have you seen all of the projects, like Fear the Walking Dead as well?
Fear I've not seen. I want to start it. That's like 113 some, like it's a lot. So I'm like, I'm gonna take a break before I jump into that. And I haven't done Tales of the Walking Dead, which is like their like anthology series, which is like each episode. Besides that, I've seen everything else. So like I've seen I think this would be my 17th Walking Dead season. So I've seen a lot of it. 17, I have 9 left. So
did what you've seen so far with the Daryl show, is it rated quite high in the franchise for you?
The first season was kind of lower, just because I just did think it was kind of boring. But most people love it. Like this is for a lot of people some of their favorite Walking Dead in a long time. I was like, I respect that a lot. I definitely get that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think the franchise is kind of coming back from kind of a weird era. Like I think seasons 7 through 10 for the most part is like still okay, but a dip off for what it was. And I feel like The Ones Who Lived was such an incredible comeback for me. Like I'm like, oh, this is like up there with seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for me. Like I thought it was incredible. But yeah, I don't want to drag on this too long because I do want to get to the Penguin. But it's fun. I'm excited to kind of see where the rest of the season goes.
I do see what you mean though, because even as a casual observer of the franchise, like they were always quite dark, but like in the series that you pointed out, like they just lent so far into it and were just like, we are robbing everybody of any hope that we've ever given anybody, and then we'll see how we feel, you know? So yeah, I totally get what you mean.
Absolutely. And yeah, lastly, we're going to be talking about The Penguin, season 1, episode 2. I don't know why they decided to move the show to Sunday when starting it on a Thursday. That really threw me off. Thursday night, I was like, all right, time for oh shit, okay. And then Sunday comes out, I didn't watch it until like 2 hours ago. So it's still super fresh in my mind. I got to get on, Sunday in my head. I think we talked quite highly of the first episode. I thought it was incredible. I was very curious to see how they would follow up that episode, how we continued some of these arcs. And I'd say obviously, like I definitely think they're going the slow burn of it all. It feels like we're slowly burning at this ongoing storyline that we're telling with the Penguin, and I think so far for me it's working very well. What was your thoughts on this episode?
Phenomenal, phenomenal. Again, every character is just amazing. Honestly, even Sophia, who without the I want to say like gritty performance of Sophia, Christopher Melotti, sorry, Melotti, or how you say her name, Kristen, excuse me. She like her character Sophia could easily be very hammy. It could be like all of the stuff that she does. Like you could just sit there and go, "Oh, okay, all right, then." You know what I mean? Like that's how I kind of felt with Duella in Gotham Knights again. You know, like it just I didn't buy any of it, right? But like I believe this character when like with all of the scratches and the just like the subtle like mouth and eye twitches and everything else, like all of the like the micro tells that she's been through something, you know?
Yeah.
Like I just buy her as a character, and in Colin Farrell, I cannot speak highly enough. He morphs into that character. I see none of it in him. I see none of him in it. None of it. I even tried right at the start, like when he's just sat there drinking that bottle of water. I was like, just don't ruin the episode. Don't try the whole episode. Just for the split second, just see if you can see any of that man in there. Not a drop, not a lick of it.
No,
he was gone. You know
it. Yeah, what he's done is incredible, and I think Sophia. Going in, like I wasn't really sure what role she would play. I wasn't expecting her to be arguably almost a co-lead of the show at this point. Like she is. I like her dynamic with Oswald, Oz, if you will, is so fascinating. I think the parallels to those two characters are so fascinating to watch. You know, it's two characters that are very really in the same spot. They are people that are trying to be pushed out by the people in their organization, despite them being the most qualified and most, ready to do the job that they can. And I think that journey in this episode is really just her and Penguin's dynamic throughout it, right? Like, obviously, he's done this awful thing to her. She's took this awful thing with her. He's done a brilliant job at hiding it. He's now the last person she's going to be expecting who did it. And this thing of, like, I want nothing to do with you. I owe you nothing. And by the end, her realizing, being like, oh, we are similar. And the only way I'm going to stay in this business, only way I'm going to stay in this game is if we work together. And I think that's going to be such an interesting direction, especially in parallel to episode 1. Like where we were sitting with those characters in episode 1, and now episode 3, they're going to seemingly be working together or trying to work together in some way.
Yeah.
It is fascinating.
What's crazy is to think that as good as he is with his plans, that wouldn't have been the case if his original plan came to fruition, because it would have been Johnny Beatty that would have taken the fall, and Castillo would still be there. Do you know what I mean? So like, she would still have her rock and her foundation of trust with him. So like, she wouldn't have been forced into that position, you know? And yeah, it was only his proper quick thinking of bringing in the other members of the family and acting like he was offended. And it just played so goddamn well. It was so good. It just, honestly, it literally feels like a Sopranos in a DC skin, you know? And they do so well. Sorry, but yeah, they do so well. I'm here for all of it.
I love the Penguin's like shenanigans for all of this, because he's just a fast word thinker. He's like, all right, I'm gonna do this, lead to this, and then one little hiccup, he's like, shit, you gotta go do this. All right, let's go do this and this and this. Shit, that fucked up. All right, and it's just him trying to just be one step ahead while people are on their trail. Like, it's really funny to me because he has the messed up foot and he's going downstairs, he's stabbing them, he's going up, and then 3 seconds later they're coming in. It's like, bro, how did you not get caught? Like, I don't know how you're getting away with what you're getting away with, but it's so entertaining. Like, I don't know. Like, going in, I said this last week, I wasn't expecting it to be that entertaining of a show. Like, I don't know, going in, I was like, it's, gangster mobster stuff. That stuff doesn't, and originally, drive with me. Not that it's bad, it's just not something I'm typically putting on, and that's just I don't know. Like, I think with those type of projects, there's a fine line, it being good and it being entertaining, and they rode that line perfectly, where it's both. It's so unbelievably cool what they're doing. I'm loving. Is it Victor? Victor is his name. His little sidekick.
Yeah,
is Victor.
Yeah.
Victor is so much fun because he clearly doesn't belong in this world. He is 100% this fish out of water. You wouldn't see this type of character in your kind of gangster mobster show. And I relate to this character a lot because I don't know if I've ever seen like real stuttering displayed in like a movie or TV show this good. Like, half the time it feels fake to me. And I'm someone who has suffered with a stutter a good amount of my life. Like anybody who is watching my streams over the year, I will have like eras where like it gets really bad, and sometimes I have a hard time getting out what I need to get out. And they displayed the frustration of that beautifully. Like, there is such a frustration when there is something you want to say and you can't say it. And he struggles with that, especially like they did episode 1 and episode 2. I think they did a very good job. It's like he can't do it. Like I feel like some people who don't deal with that don't understand. Like, just say the thing. I was like, no, you can't. Like, it's not an option. There's a thing in your brain that doesn't let you do it. And the way I think that they're displaying that has been so relatable to me, and so I don't know. And the actors doing such a great job.
That conversation he had with that young woman was painful.
Yeah, I had to pause. I was like, because
it's triggering. Like, it's triggering.
I know. I had to be like, no, because I've done that on the stream. I've been like, I will have. There would be like a good 30 seconds. I'd be like, I'd be stuck on a thing, and like I'd end the stream and be like, I don't want to do this. Like, I would have these things. Again, I go through eras. I've been good for a while. Thank goodness. But like, I go through my eras where that's a huge problem for me. And shout out to the actor because he's doing such a great job. It feels so real. It feels so organic.
The fact that like I'm so torn on that conversation, right? Because instead of waiting or saying it's okay, you can it's okay, go on. You know what I mean? Like, she just moved on and he swallowed his thought. Do you know what I mean? Like, so she thought she could have been doing something nice by just like changing the topic of the conversation to help him along, to like break him out of the stutter and like keep the ball rolling. She thought, oh, I'm doing something nice. But you're also making the man the strong silent type, because that thought has now just been locked inside of him because of this. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a real damaging thing. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. It's something. I have. This is something I don't know if anybody else in the chat has ever stuttered. You learn to change your vocabulary around your stuttering. Like, you can sometimes tell before you say something that's not going to get out of your mouth. So sometimes you have to change the wording of what you're saying. Sometimes you just don't say it at all. You're like, oh, I'm not going to speak in this situation because I know I'm not going to be able to communicate it in the way I want to. But no, I think Victor's character, I think, is such a great addition. I think it puts such a heart to the show, and I shout out to the Penguin because I feel like he had every right, not legally, but like I wouldn't even blame him if he was like, well, I'm done with you after what happened this week. Like, you fucked up, you messed up the mission in his eyes. He had to do the extra legwork. I feel like any other Bob boss would have been like, yeah, you're done, bye. But like he still gave him that second. Not saying what he's doing is good, because putting someone in
no, right, obviously, yeah. But he did give him, like, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that either job was easy, and by no means did he have an easy job, but Victor's job was so like blatant and out in the open and in broad goddamn daylight. It was bound for failure. Do you know what I mean? And especially like as
Sure.
like he's just everyone else is there like in mafia attire and he's just rocking around like in a jacket looking like, you know what I mean? Like just casual as hell. Do you know what I mean? Like he looks so out of place for where he is. Like the Penguin did him no favors in trying to get him in that place. Do you know what I mean? Like put him in a suit and a tie. He might have got the job done. Do you know what I mean? Like he genuinely could have got the job done. But yeah, he set him up for failure. Not that they weren't on a time limit, you know, but still.
I guess I guess I'm just thinking like I think if it was anybody else but Penguin would have shot him. I guess is kind of what I'm getting. Like I feel like most people wouldn't have cared that he fucked up. You're like, no, you almost blew this entire thing. They almost knew everything that I did. I feel like they wouldn't have cared if it was. And again, he didn't see what happened. He didn't know exactly how it went down. He just heard him on the radio be like, I messed up, help me. Like, I feel like if the Penguin would have done that when he was younger in that position, I feel like Penguin would have died. It is all I'm kind of saying. So okay. I like seeing the heart of the Penguin being like, well, I'll give you another chance. Like I hope I didn't fail you. I hope I didn't make the wrong decisions. Clearly still not good. He threw him in a grave and be like, this is what you deserve or whatever. But like, I don't know. It's been fun to watch.
It was a very, very, very interesting and poignant way to illustrate your point. But like putting him in the grave. Like I was disgusted and horrified by it, but I was like, damn, that's dark and that's gonna wake his ass up. Like that is definitely gonna work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that kid doesn't feel like he's about to die every minute of the day anyway, because he's just got to stay on the good side of the Penguin or get popped. You know, like one thing I love about the show, right, is like we will assume that by the end of it, the Penguin will win, right? Because it's his show, right? The whole time though, I'm still feeling that man is in constant danger. I'm still like on the my hands on the edge seat, like, come on, man, just make it through. You can do this. Just a little while longer, a little bit more guile, you know. And I feel that way with all of the people that he cares about, right? Vic, I forget the lady's name that has her own, like, has her girls, you know.
Sure.
His alibi, and his mother, of course, who he geniusly says is dead. He tells everybody she's dead. Like, mwah. Like, great way to keep her hidden. You know what I mean? Like, that's just genius. Good job. I also feel that it's a little bit telling of how he feels about her condition. Because like you will assume that this started a few years ago, and that's when he would have quote unquote lost her because she's not herself. She's not the same. Do you know what I mean? So to him, his true mother, like, could be gone, you know? So he's not like fully lying in a sense.
Yeah, I think the mother angle is going to be so interesting because I feel like typically like his connection to his mother from my memory is kind of the core of everything Penguin is. Like that's how Penguin normally gets his start, was how his mother treated him and his love for his mother. He would do, like, when everybody else abandoned him, he had his mom. So it's like his mom typically is the most important thing to him, no matter what. He would do anything for his mother. Like from what I've a little bit I've read, like he would, like, people would just talk about his mother and be like, well, you'll kill him just instantly. Like don't even say her name. Like don't even, like, I want you to do nothing about my mother. And I thought the line was so fascinating about Penguin's journey and how he, you know, views his mother and views himself, where it's like, if you're nothing, what am I? If and it's just like, I think she's been saying that kind of things to him his entire life. Like it feels like so much of his character is drilled through insecurities and, you know, that he's not worthy, and him just consistently trying to live up to that. because that's what his
Yeah.
mother's been saying. That's what his people. That's what his like the people in the mob and stuff have been saying to him. They're trying to get him out of there. Like they're telling him that. His friends probably told him that. His mother's telling him that. And it feels like his main purpose is to prove to people that that's not who he is. He is worth something, and he will prove it to anybody. And that journey, I think, is going to be so fun to watch.
Absolutely, because because he is sitting there thinking, oh, like, is it a case of like imposter syndrome? Like, do I belong here? Mixed with they're testing my metal. There's no way I'm backing down from this, you know. So it's it's great because you see the battle in himself as well as outside of himself. You know what I mean? Like the show's doing very, very, very well.
Yeah.
And again, we're 2 damn episodes in, and it's already one of my favorite shows of the year.
I agree. I think across the board acting, the writing, the mysteries, the way they're writing their characters, they're making something really special with the show. Obviously, we still have 6 more episodes. We have a long journey ahead of us still that I'm very excited to uncover. And yeah, is there anything that, obviously we're kind of coming up on our time here, is there anything that we haven't mentioned? I know we kind of zoomed through a bunch of it, but is there anything we haven't mentioned that you want to bring up?
Just that it constantly keeps me guessing, like even to the bits where I'm like, oh, I can see where this is going. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying my time here, but I can kind of see where this is going. It still swings a whole hard left, you know? Like that whole thing with Castillo, right? Where he was fighting the little bull guy, Johnny V, who he wanted to frame. I was like, there's no way that knife is not ending up in that pocket, in VE's pocket. And it ends up in Castillo's. I was like, no way. There's no way. Like, oh, dude, I was not expecting, and not him as well, because he was being so loyal and so nice. I was just like, oh, man. Like, because he was like another Vic. Do you know what I mean? Like, further down the line, but like, he looked like he had morals. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Dude. Yeah. Crazy. I'm just loving this show. I can't wait for next week.
It makes you want to come back. It does a good job at it makes me just so happy we got all these shows right now. I think are doing a good job. Like I don't think there's anything that I don't think we're a show that's super negative. Like I think we're normally pretty positive on most things. But it's nice that they're both just good. Like I think Agatha's good, Penguin's good. I'm liking Daryl Dixon. I'm hearing great things about Superman and Lois. Like people who've seen the first couple episodes have said it's really, really good. And that makes me excited. I think we're gonna.
Sorry, just that that show is very, very, very lucky, right? Because that show is a bit like an abusive girlfriend or abusive partner in the way that it makes you miss them. Okay, they keep like drawing us in, and then leaving, just leaving and expecting us to stay in this relationship with all of our heart. You know what I mean? It is abusive, but we're still here, right? If they land this season with all of the restrictions and constraints that they have, this will genuinely be like Stargirl and will just be like an absolute perfect series of TV that has been nailed start to finish.
I agree. Yeah, for anybody that watched back in season 2, that was the roughest time as just like a fan of the show because they would air 2 episodes and then they'd take a month off and then they'd be like, all right, here's 2 more episodes and here's 2 months off, and it was just like that the whole season. Obviously, they were dealing with COVID; they were having a hard time filming those episodes, but man, was it rough. That was so unbelievably rough. They aired the first half and then they aired all of Supergirl, which was like 20 weeks, and then like, all right, now we're back, and it's like, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. You gotta stop this.
You're so lucky. We love you.
Oh my god, absolutely. And I do think that was the weakest season just in general as well. So like that didn't help it either. 3Dub said mobs and criminals running around, still no Batman. LMAFO. Criminals have all the time in the world. That is kind of funny because I've seen a lot of people joking about that online, where there was that line where it's like crime is at an all-time high in Gotham, or whatever it was. And like, where is Batman? I assume he's out there doing his stuff. Like, I bet we're just not seeing the criminals he's taking down and stuff like that.
Plus, we're still only. This is something I noted actually. He brings up a good point. Like, we're still in 2022 in this show, right? Mm-hmm. So when the next Batman project comes out, like it could help with the time jump, and it could just end up where we are, right? But for the Penguin and the Batman, it's 2022. We're only weeks after the flood, so where Batman was at the end of that show, like he's the movie, like he started all about fear. I'm vengeance. I'm here to get you in the shadows, right? But by the end, he's rocking a flare and realizing that even though I'm wearing a big bat suit, I'm a symbol of hope, right? So he could very easily be helping with infrastructure and rescue efforts and things of that nature, while expecting crime is going to rise, but knows that it's an eternal war, really, that he's fighting, because like the criminal element of humans will remain until we evolve. Yeah. So, like he knows that, like, it's fine. I'll come back to that. But right now, innocent people, their lives are turned upside down. People's lives could still be in danger, you know.
He'll be very busy at the moment, for sure.
Yeah. It makes sense why he's not around.
Yeah, and I think, I think Batman is one of the rare superheroes when you're in a shared universe where it's like, well, where aren't this character? Where it's like, well, Batman's kind of like, he's doing his own thing. It makes sense why he's not everywhere all at once, kind of thing.
And yes, Batman is a firefighter. He's a medic. He's a policeman. He's like the Flash. Like the Flash goes out there putting out fires. The Flash saves lives. You know what I mean? Like all heroes take on all responsibilities.
Yep, absolutely. But with that being said, thank you so much, Darth, for joining me for today's episode. I know it's kind of late for you, but I appreciate you being here. Darth, where can people find you? Where are you located?
On YouTube, Darth Bunyan. Come and check me out. I would say TikTok, but I don't post there anymore, so stick to YouTube. Come and say hi.
Absolutely. And join us next Tuesday as we'll talk about Penguin and Agatha and Superman and Lois, and we have a very fun time. And join me this Thursday for the Pipeline Podcast. We're doing a whole episode dedicated to Superman and Lois this week, looking at all the photos, all the things, doing what we want to see in the upcoming season. Basically, like I don't know, like a little party, just kind of prepping into the new season. So that should be very fun. Connor's back on the show, should be a blast. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you on the flip side. Bye-bye.